Now, I'm going to start talking about Rogers specifically by going over some of the things that he had to say about listening. Because I think I've learned more about listening from Rogers than from any other personality theorist or psychotherapist that I've encountered. Now, we could go back to the fundamentals of psychotherapy. I mean, really what you're doing in psychotherapy is trying to help the person become a better person. And that's not exactly a scientific formulation, better person, you know. And it's a tricky thing to get at because people can be better persons in lots of different ways. Merely the fact that people vary in their temperaments indicate that, you know, your way of being a better person and your way of being a better person wouldn't necessarily be the same way. You know, because it's like maybe someone's great on the violin and another person's great on the piano. The grade is the same, but the instrument is different, and that's a good way of looking at it. And so partly what you do in psychotherapy, and I think you do this in any genuine relationship, is not only is the dialogue about how to become a better person, the continuing dialogue is also always about just exactly what constitutes a better person. So you're talking about the goal and the process at the same time. And what you're doing is working it out. So the people go into the conversation with a specific orientation, and the orientation is generally with client and therapist. It's the client comes with a problem. Their life isn't acceptable in its current form. And they come with one more thing, which is the desire to make it better. And something that you should all know, because this will stop you from tangling yourself up in your life to a tremendous degree. You cannot help someone who hasn't decided that they want things to be better. Unless they make the decision that they want to make things better, forget it. You're wasting your time. And all it'll do is hurt you. And I should also tell you that that was one of Rogers' necessary preconditions for psychotherapy. Another one was honesty and communication. But the person who was coming in for the therapeutic process had to be there voluntarily. And it's a weird thing, and I don't know how to account for it, but I don't think that you can talk someone who doesn't want to have things be better into wanting that. They have to come to that decision on their own. So they come in with having made that. So it's, for example, it's very, very difficult, maybe it's impossible, to do psychotherapy with someone who's been remanded by the court. You know, because they're there involuntarily and they'll just put up a wall. You know, not always, but a lot of the time they'll just put up a wall and just wait it out, you know. And you're not going to get in there with a screwdriver and pry off that shell. So the person has to step forward, in a sense, and say, well, you know, there's something not right about the way things are going for me, and it could be better. And someone else might be able to help me figure that out. So, and that's a really good attitude to have, by the way, when you're listening to someone, because disagree with them or not, or agree with them or not, there's always the possibility that they will tell you something you don't know. And like lots of times when people are talking, what they're trying to do is to impose their viewpoint on another person. You hear conversations like this all the time. And they're arguments, really, and they're often ideological arguments. It's like, you're right and I'm wrong, or, sorry, that never happens. I'm right and you're wrong, and I'm just going to hack at you until you shut up or you agree. Really, you'll never agree, because you just don't get someone to agree that way. It's not possible. But you might be able to cow them into silence or anger. But that's a dominance hierarchy thing. That's not a real conversation. It's just all you're doing is establishing that you're, you know, a lobster with bigger claws than the person that you're trying to pick at. A therapeutic conversation, which is a genuine conversation, is one in which both the people in the conversation are oriented towards a higher state of being while they're conversing. And you can tell when you're in a conversation like that because it's very, very engaging.